Okay, welcome. This is the Empower Me Now experience. This is a 4-day experience, and today we are kicking off with Jenny Lion Rainbow Anderson, and we're going to talk about the 7 levels of embodied leadership. Now, my name is Sabine Matharu. I am the founder of the Empower Me Hub, and I'm bringing this 4-day experience to you. We'll talk a little bit more about who we are as a hub, but really, I think we're going to get Jenny onto the stage very, very quickly because it's going to be such an exciting talk. But we're really here to help you actually empower yourself in all areas of life. We have different talks throughout the whole week. So if you're not registered yet, then please leave us a message or have a look whether you can find the registration link. But probably quickest, just leave us a message below and I will make sure that you're registered so you can actually also enjoy all of the talks. We've got 8 different talks during the week. So lots of different things like leadership. We're going to talk about home life. We're going to talk about well-being, as well as leadership, obviously today. And what else have we got? Well-being. A couple of talks around well-being as well. So it's going to be amazing. It's going to be a great sort of lineup for you. And you can just dip in and out. There will be replays available. So if you are registered properly, you will also receive the workbooks. So make sure that you have the registration link. So who is Jenny? Jenny Lion Rainbow Anderson is a mentor, thought leader, and pioneering expert at the intersection of business, energy, and consciousness. She's also a former therapist and turned mentor and business strategist. She supports CEOs, entrepreneurs, and visionary leaders ready to elevate their success by integrating deep energetic mastery into their leadership and business practices. Now, Jenny, I know you will share a few words. I'm going to bring you on stage now. We'll unmute you and we'll share some slides. And of course, you can talk a bit more about your work and what you're going to be talking about today. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Sabine. I'm so happy to be here and I'm excited to share about this workshop or, this masterclass we're having today, the 7 levels of embodied leadership. The way I want to summarize this class really is that as a therapist and then as a coach and a mentor, which I developed into later and a healer, I came to discover that everything that we accomplish in this life comes from an embodied place. So everything that you want to see in your outside world, you kind of have to become on the inside first. So there is a match energetically that needs to happen. And I'm going to talk through this today a little bit, give you an overview of what that could look like. I'm excited to do it. So we're going to dive in and I am going to start with the first slide, which got here. So let's see here. I'm going to present. And we got this one. So I'm just trying to get these slides up, but it looks a little bit let me see with sharing. I'm just going to do the sharing slides. There we go. We got it. Just had to click another button. So the 7 levels of embodied leadership is something that I've developed myself, and I'm going to go through my methodology with you guys today. And a little bit around leadership, actually, in the new paradigm as well. So welcome to today's training session. Very excited to have you here today. And this training is particularly for you if you are a visionary CEO shaping a future where tech, sustainability, and human potential converge. So you understand that it's not just about profit and productivity and performance, it's deeper than that, it's more than that, which then ripples out into the world from the work that you do within, but also obviously within your company and within your team. Committed to leading with clarity, presence, and energetic depth, not just profit, ready to hold more complexity, responsibility, and opportunity without burnout. You are anchored in values-driven growth, rooted in embodiment and personal evolution. So you realize that it starts with you, basically. So whatever you want to see in the outside world, it starts with you. And you're understanding that true leadership begins within, through intentional conscious practice. So you're going to learn about effectively, actually, to locate and shift hidden energy blocks. So I'm going to explain what hidden energy blocks are, but literally they can be found in the body. So if we can find them in the body, locate them, shift them, and then transcend, we go to our next level. And it really starts with the body. The key to ease that doesn't rely on pushing harder, you're also becoming more resilient rather than over-efforting. So it's about flow here, really. We're looking at energetic flow. That's what we want to become. So how to access the energetic flow and the power that creates the true shifts that you desire. So I'm Jenny Rainbow Anderson. I'm a consciousness expert, healer and channel, and a business coach as well. I'm certified in several healing modalities. I probably have about 30 plus qualifications over years, and in relation to body, mind, and spirit. So I started out as a massage therapist, then I became a therapist, a counselor. I was then learning to become a healer. And the healing modality that I use is based in science. So the lady who developed the modality, she is a doctor. So she's a medical doctor. And so she blends the both science and the spiritual knowledge the divine knowledge that we have attained. And I have invested over £150,000 over the last 24 years in my own personal development, my growth, my business, in my own evolution, my own healing, and my own therapy, all the things that I've gone through. So I've, really made this work for myself, and I'm excited to do this masterclass with you. So I wasn't always like this. I am Swedish native. I come from a working class background, and I am married now. I have 2 children. I live in England, in outside London, and I have a wonderful family. Most of my life, up until, I'd probably say until about probably 30, age of 30, I really struggled with playing small. I never felt I was good enough and things like that. So they were like generational pattern of feeling limited, imposter syndrome, all sorts of things. And many of you maybe have recognized this as well, that, we don't get born, we don't feel perfect, we feel like we have flaws, right? So I've gone through exactly the same loops as everyone else, I'm not different than anyone else. But I always, what made it all different was that I always committed to changing. I committed to study hard, and I committed to become an expert in what I do, no matter what. And basically, it was in 2017, my father died, and something really unlocked then. So that's now nearly 8 years ago. And it really made me revalue and rethink of how I want to live the rest of my life. And I didn't feel like I, at the time, had the impact and the leverage that I really was wanting on a sort of not just success level, but on a my purpose sort of level. So then I went into sort of full mode of learning even more and growing my business. And I'm still growing my business, and I'm evolving in my business, which is really exciting. And I also wanted to become the person and leader today through the work that I do, but so that I could be a leading example of the modality that I'm teaching. So the 7 levels of embodied leadership is something that I have become. So I have embodied the modality, meaning that I can help all my clients and anyone coming into my field to do the same. And you're here today because you can probably relate to some of the things that I'm going to, or have said, and I'm going to say as well. So what does embodied leadership look like moving into the new paradigm? So I just want to give you a little bit of sort of background on what the world has looked, well, how it looks like up until now, and what it would look like going forward from a consciousness perspective. And so I want to give you that sort of insight. So when I say old paradigm, I mean the old hierarchies, masculine-driven sort of efforts, societies that are out of balance because the divine feminine and divine masculine, or the both doesn't, maybe not necessarily in harmony. I call it divine masculine, divine feminine, but really what's been happening up until, and is still happening, it is a very masculine driven world that we live in, even when it comes to performance, not just at work and in corporate environments, but also like in schools, and how we are programmed to really work ourselves nearly to the ground, and sometimes for very little reward. And that's a very sort of masculine driven, toxic masculine driven sort of energy. And that is that old paradigm, and where many people are still living in that paradigm. But I believe that there is a new paradigm, and the new paradigm is the absolute opposite. It is a paradigm where we are still obviously putting an effort into what we are doing, but it's from a different energy. So the old energy was hierarchy, control, imbalance, not equal, competition, fear, a lot of lack and limitations. This is not available. You have to work hard. Money doesn't grow on trees. Lots of sort of like sayings that many of us have been programmed with, which creates a lack, constricting energy within us. It doesn't create an energy of expansion and joy and overflow, right? And there's lots of restrictions and rules with the old paradigm. And the new paradigm has got different energy. It's very much about unity, empathy. It's got to do with that everyone should be able to access expansion and wealth. So expansion within ourselves, expansion within, our monetary, what we're earning, the impact we have, all those things. It's about supporting. It's about trusting. It's about nurturing, actually. I haven't put that in there, but it's about nurturing, empowering people to be the absolute best of themselves. And it's about celebrating uniqueness. So that uniqueness is something that you should be celebrated for. You're not meant to fit into the mold. If you have a classroom of 30 children, for example, not one child will be similar to the other one. So to try to make them all do and learn the same, I'm just taking the school as a example, is sort of very, very old school, and very sort of very old paradigm, and redundant. Very redundant these days. And the future, the new paradigm is also very intuitive, and it's about collaboration and creativity. So it's not that we don't have the old and only have the new. It's about taking the positive and the sort of building blocks from the old, bring them into the new. So instead of control, give boundaries instead in the new. We're not controlling, we're trying to give boundaries. Instead of fear, we include passion. Because fear is only passion without fear is actually passion with restriction on it. So bringing in the different energy into new paradigm, we're going to allow us to be more collaborative, expansive, more joyful, more in flow, actually. So the new is all about allowing more for everyone, and that it's available for everyone as well. And we're all meant to thrive in the new paradigm. We're all meant to have a really happy and joyful life, right? Without restrictions. So let's move on. So how do we create this within each of us to become embodied? Because all those values that just shared to you, you probably go, yeah, I love all those. I want to become more collaborative. I want to become fearless. I want to become more intuitive. I want to become more nurturing. So we all want the external value. I think most of you watching this go, yeah, I want to be all of those things. But the only thing that will stop you from not being those things, by default or not, is the internal limitations of your own programming. your family conditioning or your child, your child trauma that you had as a child. And they could be micro and big traumas and small traumas, right? Your ancestral line, your generational trauma. Where do you come from? What's happening in your family line. So it's a personal, it is a cultural, and it is a sort of human evolution programming that we all have. And to become all those new values in the new paradigm, we have to work individually on ourselves. And that means doing the deep inner work. And I'm going to talk to you about that a little bit more. So the 7 levels of leadership are important because they're actually relating to the body. And the reasons I've linked it to the body is because I am a physical therapist and because I am also a counselor. I understand the psyche of the human. And I also understand from a healing perspective the multidimensional levels of energy that you are an electromagnetic field, really. So I can link all the things, and I do that through linking it through the chakras. So I'm going to explain that to you now. So what I discovered was that each chakra, so these are just colors of your chakras. So you have the root chakra, you have the navel chakra, the solar plexus, and then you have the heart. The green is the heart chakra. Then you have the throat, then you have the third eye, which is between your eyebrows, and then the crown. So these 7 chakras symbolizes different things in your body, and they are based on an energetic map, if that makes sense. Because if you went to the doctor, he wouldn't say that these chakras probably would exist. If he is a spiritual doctor, he would say, but a medical doctor maybe wouldn't say this unless they're into this stuff. But my teacher, who is a medical doctor and also a healer and a channel, and who had put the system together that I use, she recognizes both, and they live in harmony together. And then I'm going to explain to you how I've linked leadership to the different chakras. Okay, we always start at the bottom, and this is the root chakra, and I'm going to explain to you why. The root chakra is at the bottom of your spine, and it is linked to everything to do with safety, being safe in this world, earning money, being rooted, because it's called a root chakra. Being rooted, being very present here, being very much here in this world. So when we need to start here, and we make sure that this root chakra is a 100% like grounding you and really whole and wholesome and balanced. Because what happens, most people who are having a tough life, whether that is from trauma or they have had lots of misfortune, so to speak, they lose their money, they lose their safety, whatever the story is, 100%, if we look at the root chakra, it is distorted. There's trauma stored there, and I can find all the threads from that place, what it looks like in their life. Like I can actually tie every single thing that is happening to them to that particular part of their life, if that makes sense. So if, for example, a person goes, yes, I know my mission, my intuition is really good, my communication is decent, my relationship's maybe not that good, I have a lot of power, I have no wealth, and my health is poor, I would not start up here. We need to make sure the health and the root and the safety here in this world is 100% intact. Without that, you have nothing to build on. It sounds awful, right? So what happens, a lot of people, they do all this up here, they push so hard in the old paradigm because that is fear driven, that they really sacrifice their health. And then they might become wealthy because they pushed really hard and they really created this in this really masculine energy. But then when the health deteriorates, the rest of this crumbles as well. But not all of it perhaps at the same time, but in parts. All right. So the reason we start at the bottom is because we build like a house. You wouldn't build a brick house on a poor foundation. You would have to have a really good, solid cement foundation, really good base, and then you'll start building your bricks on top, right? So it's the same here with you and your life. So the health needs to be good. Wealth, the reason I link wealth to the sacral chakra, which is the navel chakra, it's because wealth is very much related to expansion, creativity, joy. Those attributes are all stored in the sacral chakra. So if we can create from a joyful, expansive, overflowing place of overflow, we're not only going to see wealth and abundance in our relationships, in our health, in everything else, but also money. So money will start flowing in. Okay, you have to have a good, sort of strategy as well, and a good business or a good job, but it's for money to come in, right? But it is a part of that. The next thing is power, and I'm going to go in deeply into these now. But the power part, I really talk about this. This is in the solar plexus chakra. It's most people have given their power away most of their life. They either give the power away to parents or in school or to peers, give power away at work, not speaking up for yourself. Giving the power away takes away your choice. And this is also come from the toxic masculine environment that we are so conditioned into, right? The next thing is relationships, which is from the heart chakra. So I think just on a general perspective, most people, if they have a pretty good relationships, if they have good health, then they can make all the other things work. Because if you have good relationships and if you have loving, supportive relationships and your health is good, it's like you can do everything, right? You can really make things work. So this is a very important place for me in this system I'm using, that if somebody comes to me and they start, I want to work on my business, great, we work on the business, or I want to work on my career ladder, or I want to work on my CEO leadership. Then I say, okay, well, let's start working at look at what's not right. If I find anything in the health or anything in the relationships, we need to start there. We couldn't go, yeah, let's work on the mission and the vision now. If, the relationships are absolutely crumbling, or if they have, a medium health condition that is really making them, or high levels of anxiety or something like this, or feeling burnout or whatever it is, we couldn't really necessarily start working on those other things until that is put in place, right? So it's very important. Communication, again, is a byproduct of working on your own consciousness and becoming whole in your power, becoming clear in your intuition and your vision. Your communication will improve. So again, they are not linear, these steps. We do start with the health, but then after that, we can go from the different levels and start working at different levels to make it, it's not linear, but to make it unique for each person, because not everyone are the same. Some people are going to have amazing relationships, but their intuition is really limited. So we'd have to work a lot on the intuition, for example. So these 7 levels are kind of a complete map of you as a leader. So intuition comes from actually lifting the seal of consciousness and lifting the veil, really. Intuition gets enhanced when your physical body also is very clean. Maybe you do fasting, or you have very little sugar, gluten, and dairy, things like that. Maybe you eat a very clean diet, non-processed foods. That nutrition, I'm also a nutritionist, got a certification in nutrition. So I often, really, I'm very hot on this to keep your channel clean, so that, or your body clean, so that your intuition enhances. So your intuition will be super clear the more clear you are on a physical embodied level, right? Mission vision. So mission vision is very much about anchoring in to that very thing. It's your big why, really. Your big why. What did you come here to do? What is it that you really want to achieve this lifetime beyond a paycheck? Do you know what I mean? So beyond what you may be currently doing. And that is a really important piece as well. So let's just carry on here, because we can go a little bit deeper in all of them. So now I've got from the top. So your big why, you may be here right now and you might be thinking, I think I know kind of what my big why is, but there might be more things to discover, and there always is. And I always say to people, don't get too stuck on this is my purpose, this is my mission, because it might change a little bit. And I always say, if it excites you and if it feels good, and if it feels like, yes, I can't wait to do it, then it's most likely very aligned with your vision and your mission, because it feels good to you, right? So instead of saying, what exactly is it? Well, it might be a few things, right? But as long as it feels good, you're really meant to, follow that. Intuition. Now, this is your inner compass, which helps you bypass any unnecessary detours. And the reason I'm saying that is when one can learn to trust your intuition and actually follow the gut feeling, and wouldn't say you override your mind and ignore what your mind is telling you. There is a rationale, and there is obviously a thought process that goes into things. But if you're driven by fear and your mind is feeding you the fear, instead of like tapping into the intuition and aligning with what feels good, then you might want to look at that. You don't want to really follow the fear arrow. You rather follow the intuitive nudges and the things that feels good. And intuition is such a big thing, because some people can see, they're clairvoyant, they see that, this is what I want to achieve. Or they might feel it in their body and go, this feels really tingly and exciting in my body. I get my tummy, I get butterflies. That's also your intuition. Or you might simply sort of like have this pull. You might see some signs, repeatedly over and over to say, you're meant to go that way. Yeah. So it's like your intuition will speak to you in so many different ways. And so Empowering Health says, that's so interesting. I think we don't listen to intuition often enough. No, exactly that. And if we can define what the intuition is, like I just did, you can be like, actually, I'm open and I'm prepared to follow my intuition a lot more. I think when it comes to intuition, when you don't have evidence that this big thing that you're doing, you don't have evidence that it's not going to work, or you don't have evidence, basically, you're more likely to fall into fear. You're more likely to go, gosh, that feels safer to do this. I'm not sure. So I think if you're a beginner on this, or even if you're very seasoned on intuition, I suggest that you start small and build it up. So, look, I can say anything from that. I feel that I should, apply for this job, but I have a little bit of fear. But let's do it anyway, because I got nothing to lose. I haven't, resigned from the other one. Maybe other things like, I have such a strong feeling that I should ring my sister today. Let's do it. Because again, you have nothing to lose, right? So follow the intuition in small steps first. And then when the messages are getting bigger and stronger, try to just push a little bit each time to follow the intuition. Push a bit further, a little bit stronger. Because every time you stretch yourself and your intuition, you're stretching your intuition, the stronger it becomes and the more trustworthy it becomes. As in, like, not trustworthy, but like you're trusting it more, basically. Yeah. So communication. So I teach my clients something called non-violent communication, but that's very much about, having clean relationships, having really good communication within relationships, whether they are with work colleagues and teams, or whether they are with your loved ones. Because in the end of the day, if you can communicate from a deep level of empathy, understanding, and if you're a good listener, you get really far. Like, you can really get really far with good communication, even when things seem really tough and you're like, I'm not sure I'm going to pull this one through. If you word yourself in a very empathic, understanding, and collaborative way, the human spirit, or the human itself, that we are open to to softer openings of things, right? We get very disempowered and very sort of like put down when communication is too driven by fear or threats or harsh, no empathy in it, that really shuts people down, you know. So if we can open up more of the empathy, more intuition, more collaboration energy, we get so much further in everything, at work, career-wise, loved ones, you know, in all places, right? Relationships. So many relationships at work and at home can be codependent a little bit, depending a little bit where you come from in your, you know, family background, but they can be linked in to a little bit of dysfunction, right? Because we will copy what our parents did, maybe even grandparents. We will build relationships sometimes on external validation rather than internal. You know, there's so many different ways we could build dysfunctional relationships. And if we can, from a professional and personal perspective, create really codependent free relationships with strong boundaries of what we are available for and what we are not available for, communicate well what we need and what we don't, what we dislike, from a place of inner power, we can come codependent free. And I don't want to say if it's something I call interdependent, because we're meant to depend on other people for collaboration, for team work, for building something amazing in a group energy together. But I call it interdependent rather than codependent, because interdependent means that we are together in the togetherness or creating something which is beautiful. And I think society, just as a general thing, is been teaching us to, yes, you're your own soldier, you know, you don't need anyone, you can do it on your own, which I don't think is a good mantra at all. I don't think we can do much on our own. We should rely on other people in a healthy way, where we're supporting each other and where we're building something amazing together, whether that is a family or a professional team, you know, whatever it is. It's a different way of looking at it, but I could go deeper into that on another time. But that's really how I look at relationships. So if we can have trauma-free, codependent-free, and have healthy interdependent relationships, we can create some amazing things as leaders. Okay, next one, power. So many people go, oh, power. What do you mean power, Jenny? So power means, to me, in my world, it means that you are able to communicate your needs, what you're not available for and what you're available for, what your boundaries are, what doesn't feel good to you, and what you don't, where you don't want to over deliver and then undercharge, you know, the whole thing. You want to stay in your power in terms of like, no, this is my limit, or this is my availability, this is my capacity. Because this is another thing, like in corporate and in working in very sort of high pressured environments, we often give our power away by saying, yes, I can complete that, but you didn't check if you were at capacity or not yet. So if you are at capacity and say, I'm talking to myself now, right? I'm at capacity. I cannot get through more on my desk. Like, you know, this is it. I'm at capacity. I'm good at measuring how much I can take on. And then stand in your power to say, I am at capacity. If I stretch this capacity, I'll make myself ill and I'll make errors. I'll make mistakes that could cost the organization or my business a lot more than if I just say this is capacity. And that is standing in your power. So if you know your capacity, if you know what you're available for, then, and what you're not available for, and you can communicate that clearly, you are in your power. Also, it's about not taking on things that is out of integrity. If something is out of integrity and you're like, I'm not sure I can actually put my name to this. This doesn't feel good to me. To stand up and say, no matter what, to say, actually, I feel this is out of integrity for me, it's out of alignment, this is not aligning with my heart, or with what I believe in, it feels wrong, so I'm not going to do it. That is also standing in your power. So we need to stand in our power, because at the end, the only one that will pick up the pieces is yourself, right? So if we don't stay in our power, we'd also allow people to walk all over us, and we allow the toxic, energy to lead, to rule us, and that's also not a good thing. And then they might say, well, we'll just use someone else for this piece of work. And you maybe you don't want to work here anymore. Well, fine then, because why would you want to work for someone who does that to you, sort of thing. So it's that kind of, you've got to stand in your power. You've got to stand in your power. This is really important as leadership as well. But also this is important if you're a CEO and you're a leader of a company and you are using your power in the correct way, meaning you are empowering people, you're not pushing them beyond their limits by being too dictatorial or something. You're not misusing your power, basically. You are encouraging them to step into their power, to perform at their highest performance within their capacity. And it's your job as a corporate leader to make sure everyone performs at their highest level without breaking themselves. And then you're in your power to say, right, this is healthy energy for my team. So that's healthy power. Next one is wealth. So I think when it comes to wealth, we all have very different relationships to money, what wealth is, abundance, how we want to live our lives. Ultimately, money and monetary wealth gives us freedom. So it doesn't actually give you happiness, it just gives you choice and it gives you freedom. So if that is a part of your values, that you want more money and more wealth because you want more freedom, I think that's a really healthy goal to have, because why would you have little freedom? We all want freedom to choose the things that matters to us most. So this is a huge topic. I'm not going to go deep into wealth right now, but it's not just monetary. It's also how you feel about yourself, how you feel about your family, how you feel, what wealth represents to you. So to me, on a personal level, wealth represents that I am in good health. That is the most important thing first. It also represents for me that I have spaciousness and time, put as much as I can for my family and for my loved ones. And I also feel really wealthy when I do my soul work, which is this. I do my soul work. I love delivering. I love helping my clients. I love see people shift and step up into their leadership. Like, I get so much joy from that, and that is wealth to me. So if I get all those things right, and I am also working on my money mindset, and I'm charging the right thing, the right, exchange, I also create monetary wealth. So it's like a byproduct of, to me, monetary wealth should be a byproduct of your passion and of the things that you really light you up. So yeah, we can go deeper into that as well. But let's move on. Health. So health, I know I went the other way, but health really is your business foundation. Your business is only as strong as your health is. And whether that is your leadership position you're working in a company, if you radiate a certain level of energetic vibration that holds a frequency which is reflected. It's a reflection of your inner capacity, or like it's a reflection of where you're at vibrationally, and that vibration will feed out to the team. So it's important, you can see like some really very successful executives and CEOs and leaders, they keep themselves extremely fit. They go to the gym, they have mind and growth mindset and growth mindset, coaching. They're always, evolving, learning new things, how to handle teams, how to look after themselves. They are interested and curious to learn more about empathy, intuition, more like transformational leadership. They are always learning something, and they are looking after their health. You can see this. You can see the difference of really energizing organizations where the CEO is totally an embodied leader. They're totally embodied in the work they do, and they also really look after their health. That's like I have not seen one very vibrant, energizing CEO listen to anyone in that job, in that role, and that they're not looking after themselves. I have not seen one that seems very sort of vibrational in a way, that has not been looking after everybody. And the times when you see the ones that are not doing so well is the ones that maybe have been suffering burnouts, or they have not been looking after themselves, they've not been prioritizing themselves. And then you can really see that in their leadership and how they behave with their team as well. So let's move on. I just want to cover a couple of the different levels. I'm not going to go through every single one, but the way I talk about health is mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. So this is obviously where I come from. I'm a therapist, I'm a massage therapist, I have anatomy, physiology, I understand all that, nutrition, come from that space. I'm a healer, I understand all the different parts of the body. So the health is really important to me. We only had one. So I'm going to break down one for you, because otherwise, if I break them down, all of them, it's going to be quite overwhelming of information. But when I look at the mental part of, if I work with a client, we look at the growth mindset, we look at their mind. How do they think? What is possible to them? What can be achieved? How can we overcome this? It's growth mindset. We also look at the subconscious mind and the reprogramming that needs to happen. So what patterns are hidden? What energy blocks in your mind are hidden to you that only I can see, or a therapist can see, or somebody who is used to working in this way can see? And how do we shift that? We want to do left and right brain balancing, and that is because the left brain is your rational, more masculine, strategic side of thinking. And the right one is emotional, more creative, allowing flow and intuition. But we really want to merge both, because if we don't, we're kind of out of balance, right? We want to use both. The emotional side of your health, again, if somebody has not healed or cleared their trauma, it will come out as triggers, or they will be treating their staff not in a very nice way, or they might have communication problems with their partner or their spouse. They're not, really, they're not doing very well with other people, because they live their life through a trauma lens, right? So we need to clear and heal that trauma for them to become whole. It's also about developing emotional intelligence. So emotional intelligence is very much about having this, it's like an extra brain. It's an emotional brain. It's like you have a radar, you can measure everything. You're very sensitive to other people's energies. You understand how to read cues. You're very good at understanding other people. It's having that emotional connection and develop this emotional intelligence is very important as a leader. Now, physical is, like I said earlier, any CEO who is a super leader, they do exercise, they have a balanced diet, they look after themselves, they do meditate, right? They take time out. They might not be meditating, they might be cycling every day, or go for a long walk, or might be listening to a guided meditation. There's going to be things that they do to empty their brain, to kind of really sort of refocus and recenter. Now, I'm going to explain a little bit what I said earlier about the hidden blocks and how to clear them. So if we want to achieve a high level of performance in all these different levels, as I said earlier, it's not linear. We start with health, always make sure that's good. If relationships are out of balance, we want to make sure they're good so people feel safe. But really after that, it is not a linear process. It will jump between these different levels when I work with people. So one session could be all about the power, and then the next time we're working on the intuition, etc. So things that we clear, and that when I say clear, it's not talking therapy, it is energetic shifting out of the body. So your body is somatic. It will store all your experiences, not just this lifetime, but also past lives. So the body will store all the things, like it really has a memory of everything. So if a person has experienced lots of trauma or even small traumas, it will be stored in the body and it will be hidden as blind spots in the body somewhere. So my job is to locate it, shift that energy out of the body, and it does clear. It basically lifts and it leaves and it transforms into light and is no longer in there. The trauma is gone. So that's amazing. And from that, there's so many positives that will happen when the trauma clear. But that's one thing. The unregulated nervous system that I find in a lot of women is because they're a lot in fight and flight, because it's been a very pressured and fear-driven masculine environment they've been in, and they haven't been feeling safe with the masculine themselves, so they've created their own masculine sort of framework to feel safe within. But women are not really designed to be in a fight-flight mode and go out and hunt and gather, because that really was the biologically men's bodies and mind and psyche is more conditioned to do the hunter-gathering, as in from a biological perspective. So that's why women often have hormonal imbalance, because they fight and flight too much. We're looking at conditioning and programming. So look, these are all the parents' patterns from childhood, what you've been told by teachers, peers, ex-bosses, working somewhere, past relationships, whatever, so many places where we're being programmed. We also have subconscious beliefs and habits. So a subconscious belief can start happening as soon as you're born, basically, without you even realizing. And then every time a similar incident happens, let's say a baby at 3 months will cry in their cot for 10 minutes and no mum is not there or dad is not there. The ego will start creating a small trauma of abandonment, even just for 10 minutes. And then that little trauma, next time they get left, it will be another layer on that trauma. So if that then carries on and this child is being left in a unprecedented way for the next 7, 8, 9, 10 years, this trauma of abandonment has then grown. And that then becomes the belief about themselves that they're not lovable because they're being left. So the subconscious negative belief about oneself will then be, I am not lovable for who I am. I feel abandoned. I feel unsafe. I feel like I'm not worthy to be loved. Blah, 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 blah. It carries on, right? That becomes a subconscious negative belief. And we need to clear that too. I am lovable. I am enough because I'm breathing. I am perfect the way I am. We just need to change it in the subconscious. Then we look at past life trauma. The amount of time that people are limited in this lifetime because they have not cleared past life trauma is staggering. Staggering. I can see so many limitations in leaders and CEOs that they would have no idea about. It's hidden because they can't look in the past life unless they can read their Akashic records. So I can read the Akashic records, which is a library of all events of past lives, and I can access like any memory there or any sort of incident. And then when we do that and then clear that past life trauma, the person changes. They're like, wow, I have no fear to speak to women anymore. Like, let's say it's a CEO man and he's like, he has, some sort of disempowerment and speaking to other female bosses. So I don't know, I'm just coming up with some ideas here. That could then come from past life trauma about being, persecuted or whatever for speaking up, something like that. So there's many links that could be, pulled in between these things. It is limitless what could be found as well, which is quite interesting. Hence, they are hidden. So they're hidden blocks, right? Now, ancestral and transgenerational. So transgenerational. So the ancestral is very much about, I'm Swedish origin, so I will have some, generational and ancestral programs about living in the cold and the snow, and we ate a lot of salt food, in Sweden for hundreds of years because there was no refrigeration and in the summer and stuff. Like, I've had healing for that, by the way, but there's lots of weird patterns that we would have. I have a really strong sort of warrior spirit, and I think that's because of the Vikings. So, you know, we all have different sort of flavors in our genes and in our DNA from where we come from. And sometimes they could be helpful or non-helpful, so we kind of have to clear them for the person to become whole. And then we have physical and emotional toxins that we need to clear. So if somebody has a lot of caffeine and they drink a lot of coffee, they have a lot of, I don't know, Lucozade or something, they have processed foods, they don't eat organic, they might have a lot of fast food or buy it in the supermarket, you know, on the rush, might not drink enough water. You know, I'm making it quite bad now. They will have a lot of physical toxins. Like there will be a lot of toxins from all these byproducts of the food. It's not very clean, you know, the body's really trying to clear these toxins out, and they won't have, you know, as good of a physical vessel as somebody who has a cleaner diet. So that could be also contributing to pains and inflammation in the body and things like that. So we want to make sure we clear that as well and change that. Right, next one. Now, when things like this clear, and again, not linear, whatever comes up for the person working, most of my clients stays with me for years. So we start working on things they never want to stop because they're like, wow, this is so good. I am changing so much. There's so many different sort of like, you know, layers that comes at different times. But really the very desired outcome from clearing all these things out is accessing the human success blueprint. And when I say human success blueprint, it means the very sort of potential that your soul came with this lifetime, that you are a limitless expression of source. And that is really what we want to activate and help you embody. The power from within. So like, again, not a slave like in the matrix, you know, not a slave in the programming, completely fully sovereign and fully embodied leader and power in yourself. And that is priceless. When you live your life from that place, no like money or recognition or career path or anything, nothing can really replace that joy and that fulfillment and that peace that you would feel within when you live your life from that place of very little conditioning. That is true. To me, that's heaven on earth. Because that is like, well, that's the very, very ultimate sort of achievement of a human, to live limitless and sovereign and free from the programming that is making us feel heavy. You know, that there's no other success. There couldn't be any high levels of success to me. That's my own personal perspective. So when we go into the fullest potential and we're living in alignment with a higher self, so your higher self is your oversoul. So it's like in the higher dimensions, right? So you're not just your physical body here and in this moment. You also have a connection to source through your higher self. And your higher self is the one that prompts your intuition, makes you make these, you know, full, bold new moves that is in alignment with how you want to live your life and how you want to create a successful, amazing life this lifetime. So we're activating that. But so when people go, oh, how can I do that? Well, it comes with all the clearings and things that we need to do first, and then slowly we activate. So it is a journey. I mean, I would say probably if somebody really went for it, most people work with me probably for at least 2 years to really go deep with this and completely become this limitless version of themselves. But you get amazing results within 3 to 6 months, like exponential results. But then you're so hooked on it, you want to keep going. So that's just to kind of give you, if you think of it's taken, I don't know, 25,000 years to program the human conditioning, you know, the human conditioning how we are. 2 years is nothing, you know, in terms of unconditioning someone. Okay, so I was talking about human as a species here. So the next thing, I just want to help you understand a little bit about the subconscious, because I was saying to you earlier that the subconscious mind is something and beliefs that you create there are driving your reality. So this is the 100% truth. 5% of your reality, like how you see it right now in your life, is being created 5% by your conscious mind, your will. I am doing this. It's created by that. The 95%, and this is all the things you think, oh, why is it going like this? Why is this happening? Why is this? Da, 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 da. That's been created by your subconscious mind. 95% of your reality is absolutely created by your subconscious mind. So that, therefore, we need to make sure that we are accessing the subconscious mind and clearing all the things in the subconscious mind that you don't like, so that you become the creator, you know, from a conscious perspective, and that the subconscious hold very little negative, imprints of where you want to go in life. Then, when it comes to trauma healing, look, I worked with a lot of trauma with my clients, but really what happens when they first come, we create safety. Then we open up what's happening. They express how they feel. They're making sense. We're healing it. And then they release it. Then they transform. So it's like, it is a therapy setting as such, but I'm not a talking therapist. Like, I'm really not there for too much talking. We just access what's happened, and then we shift it energetically, clear it, move on to the next step. So it doesn't regurgitate. Maybe you've had counseling or psychotherapy where you feel like you're speaking about it and then nothing happens because the energy hasn't actually shifted. You've only said it, which is not really clearing the trauma. It's just highlighting it, actually. So that's, some people have had that feedback, that people feel that way. Now, this is a very complicated thing because the transgenerational transmission of historical trauma. So you have your country, then the community, then the family, and then the individual. I'm not going to go into all these different categories, but if you can imagine that you are a person here, and you know your family are holding certain patterns of whatever addiction. For example, my family, there's a lot of addiction in my family, alcohol addiction, going backward, and I've cleared so much of this. It's like I've broken the cycle of alcoholism. Really, that's how I feel, because I don't drink, and I teach my children about what alcohol is and why you shouldn't be drinking it, etc., and all the things. So it's like you're changing the patterns, right? Community, again, that's where you come from. Maybe the village that you brought up, or that you were brought up in, or the village that your parents were brought up in. And then you wonder sometimes, when there is a person coming from one nation and then from another nation, they have specific community and family trauma and patterns, and then the other family have the same, and you wonder why it's so difficult for them to get on sometimes, because they have so much background and so many different values, perhaps, and so many different things that are not aligned, or they don't understand each other, and it's not working out because it's just simply too much to try to sort of fit in. And there's no disrespect, but like I can see that sometimes how people really struggle, because there's so much stuff at the back end that makes it difficult for them here now. So when we are clearing trauma and the unregulated nervous system and the conditioning and programming and the subconscious beliefs and habits and all the past life trauma and the ancestral and transgenerational patterns and the physical and emotional toxins, we will not start here and finish here, because that's what we say. Here's the start of the journey, here's the end of the journey. It actually looks like this. It's like a stupa that actually goes up and up and up and up, and you just get freer and freer and freer and freer. It's actually a journey it's a journey. It's not really a start to finish, and it is a beautiful journey. That's all I can say. It's a beautiful journey. So the tools that I use for clearing and for activating, I use Divine Healing, which is based in science and in energy. So it's esoteric as well as scientific. I'm a shaman, so I can work with shamanic energy. So I work with ancestors, and I work with clearing a lot of shadow work, so all the icky parts of people that they don't like, all their rage perhaps, or their jealousy, things that are very icky that we don't like about ourselves. That's shadow work. So I do a lot of that. I do soul contract readings, which is reading someone's purpose and vision and mission, and aligning them, the soul, with what they're really here to do, come to do this lifetime. I also do something called light body activation. This is energy work on a high level. Often people come with this because they want to become completely plugged in to their higher self and to their soul, and become unstoppable leaders that can just go beyond your imagination, basically. It's like healing work on steroids. So it's the best in the world. That's that one. And then I also integrate, help with intuitive business strategies and mentorship. I really bring in all my marketing skills. I've got a degree in marketing and business. I've done business. I've worked for myself since 2000, so like the last 25 years. I bring in a lot of my other skills into the work that I do. For example, a client I'm working with at the moment, she works on a personal level, but she also has a company. So we work with the staff there as well. We work with, her family. We work with different aspects of her life because we can. And it's really a very beautiful journey. So we can do a little test here and see what you feel you can score yourself if you want to do that. So I always say 1 to 10. So if a 1 is very weak and a 10 is really strong, I'm doing really well in this. You can maybe take a screenshot of this and say, or a photo with your phone maybe, and you can go back and do this exercise later on. But really, if you think that you're not scoring between sort of 5 or 6 at least on each one, you're definitely, you're definitely a good candidate to start doing some work, right? So you want to, take a screenshot of this maybe, or take a photo, and then go back and think, I think I need to work on my health. I have a 4. I feel there's lots of things with my health that I need to address. And then maybe the wealth the same. So I'm thinking, I'm a 3. I don't know. I'm not doing very well with my wealth. So you go back and score yourself. And now you are invited to join the Empowerment Hub and join the big, beautiful team of people we have inside the Hub. So I'm going to hand over to Sabine. And I want to say thank you so much for having me here and watching and coming along on this masterclass. Thank you.
Oh, so brilliant. Thank you so much, Jenny. It's been amazing. I love what you're talking about, intuition. And I think it's not enough people are realizing how important it is and how to actually lead from that space. But I think there's more and more conversations starting, even in the corporate space, about leading with intuition and really tapping into the different chakras that we're talking about as well. And I'm part of this. I mean, I used to be the longest time project management and looking at processes and everything else. And there is definitely this energetics that I more and more come to understand. So I think it's a really important piece, bridging piece here.
Thank you.
So without further ado, I believe that we do need to master the life lessons that Jenny was just talking about, right? It is about getting support, and not just support in one area, but holistically, because we are all human beings. We just, not just mothers or fathers or just bosses or CEOs, and we come in contact with so many different life situations. And then I guess in order to be able to learn something that it sticks with you, it has to be also interactive and fun. We need to have a clear pathway and goals. And I love the fact that Jenny was actually letting you share the scorecard, basically, because that's really where you want to get started. It's become aware where you're at right now and what are the things in your life and your career that you want to work on. You want to be in control of that work as well, because it may be that you're stuck in a job and literally stuck, where maybe you don't like it. Maybe you feel you're not being supported. Well, are you going to wait for your employer, your boss, to tell you, here we go, here are all the tools, and what would you like? Well, sometimes it doesn't happen. So how about you taking control and saying, actually, I would like to go that pathway, regardless of where I'm going to work, who's going to support me, I would like to change my life, right? That's what the invitation is all about. That's why we've created a place where you can come and join us. It's a community where we share experiences, where we hold you accountable. And it is called indeed the Empower Me Hub, because we've created this place where we can help you get consistency. You apply what you've learned day in and day out, and it's not just a one-off workshop. This is a journey, right? Every single day, we've got to remind ourselves, why are we on this journey? What are we working on? Get the right support, because doing it alone can be very tough. It can be very lonely, and we may not even know how to get started. We may not have the toolkit available and get the support to actually make this shift, make this change. So without further ado, this is the space. We created the Empower Me Hub. And instead of just addressing one element, you will have access to an integrated, sustainable approach. So you're going to be not only learning, but you also get actionable steps. You'll have the community. You get a step-by-step roadmap. We start off with a awareness piece, with a scorecard basically around where are you right now. And we're talking about leadership. We're talking about career development. You can tap into resources around well-being. And we when we talk about well-being, it's emotional, physical, mental, and physical and financial well-being, as well as home life. We have talks in there about parenting, for example. We've talks about relationship. So this is really 360-degree opportunity for you to be able to tap into all of the resources in one-stop shop. How does it work? So the platform that we have chosen has a community. So as you can see here, when you tap into the community tab, there are discussions. You can ask questions. We have a safe place. If you don't need to be part of the discussion, if you just want to learn, and that's fine as well, because that's why we created the hub in a way we did it. Because some people don't feel like they want to be on another social media, and this isn't another social media platform. It's a closed learning platform where we treat each other with a lot of respect, and we can ask good questions, we can support each other, but then we can also just go and learn. There is a calendar where we have live support. So if you want to come and join us for a discussion, we have a forum, a roundtable discussion, Q&As with experts, and also live training that we host on an ongoing basis. And then lastly, we also have a classroom where all the replays will go in. So if you can't come for a live session or you don't want to, then you can tap into the classroom where you can go through self-paced learning opportunities, where we will have a short bite-sized lunch and learn, basically, where you can go through the workshop. There is a worksheet most often attached to it as well. And there is also a question thread underneath. And so you've got a range of different toolkits and trainings that you can just complete as and when from around the world. Basically, you can just log in and go through this yourself. But then you might think, well, actually, how do I get started? We thought about this. Well, firstly, you may not really understand what this place is yet. So we are offering a 7-day free trial. So you can join through the 7 days. We will take you through what we call the Empower Me Quest. If you'd like to see a little bit of everything and see what's inside, you can go straight to that section. We also have a start here section where we have a bit of a video and an introduction of how it all works. Then you can join the 7-day quest that will actually get you through a range of different resources, and it's like step by step, and it really is like a treasure hunt. It's that's why we call it the Empower Me Quest. If you don't like it, of course you can cancel at any time, and of course if you would love to join us, then you will get more resources, and we can help you also tailor a program. If you wish to have some more coaching support, we also have one-to-one sessions that you can get inside of the portal through upgrades. So there's loads of additional opportunities here. So when you click the link, which I'm just going to put into the chat, when you click the link, you can go through and request your 7-day free trial. I'll also make sure the link will be underneath the video visible, and we'll also email it out. So come and join us. You will be going to this page, and then you can just press the button, start a free trial, you create a profile, and then we'll welcome you in. I think that's pretty much what I wanted to share. Jenny, you've been inside, you're one of the speakers, you're one of the expert coaches. Is there anything that you can share from within the community and what's been going on as a sort of an insider, and maybe you can recommend if someone's on it doesn't know if they want to join?
I mean, I think it's absolutely wonderful because we have some amazing coaches, mentors, and people in there who are supporting the members in an amazing way. And I know that it's kind of I think you started last year, didn't you, Sabine? So I can see how this hub is going to be super, super like successful and supportive to so many people, because Sabine is very organized, and Sharon, and everything is done from a very conscious place, because otherwise I wouldn't be in there. I'm a consciousness expert. It really comes from a level of giving value, leading with supporting and giving value, and then inviting people in to come and transform their lives, not just their lives, their careers, transform their health, transform themselves so that they can become much happier. If people are not happy with whatever that is, work or relationships, career, whatever it is, it's really important to get the support that you need so that you're not feel on your own. You're not on our own,
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's such a brilliant, amazing space.
Yeah, exactly. And right now it's super
It's just onwards and upwards. Do you know what I mean? It's just amazing what's in there.
Exactly.
All the classes, the resources. Even if you said, oh, there's so many, like let's say you came in, there's quite a few different masterclasses and different trainings and things. But you can just ask us, okay, well, I'm struggling with this right now. Well, where do I start? Sabine will answer, or Sharon, or myself, or maybe Denise. Someone else will answer the question, and you will get the support you need. So it's just brilliant.
Exactly. Thank you so much for sharing your insight. And yeah, I'm super excited where this is going to go, because I think so many people do need this support. And this is the reason why I created it, because I wanted a one-stop shop. So you don't have to have many different memberships. It's like your Netflix for self-development, because everything's under one roof. And yeah, and all the experts are on the inside as well, that we can just tap into them and ask them questions, and they'll come and answer as well. So thank you so much.
Yeah, same to the people as well. So like it's only £33 a month after the trial, right?
Yes, so exactly. At the moment, right now, that's the founder's rate, but it will go up. So if someone's watching this video in 6 months or 12 months, I'm really sorry.
But it's really,
it will go up because we're putting so much more value into.
At this founder rate, it's kind of incredible value if you're ready to make the shifts and do the work and come and join us and have really see some shifts for yourself. It's brilliant.
Yeah,
thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. We'll put up the replays into the hub as well. They will be available for a couple of days to view in public, but then they'll go inside, and so you'll have to join as well. Hopefully we'll see a lot of you on the inside, and yeah, let's do this together. Let's transform and make the world a better place, and yeah, that we're all more happy, and we can ripple this out to our families, to our work colleagues, friends, and yeah, everyone else.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.